where is now the intersection between AI and digital assets, and how is that speeding up the path that we're going down?
Well, companies like Visa and MasterCard are really getting involved pretty heavily. So Visa has this thing, I don't know if I know the acronym correctly, but it's the Visa Token something protocol. I think it's maybe their token asset protocol or something. It's VTAP. And that is allowing individual banks to create their own stable coins and their own tokens. So if you want to have a Wells Fargo token, or you want to have, a UK bank, and you want to have, the British pound token, but it's like for that particular bank, they're basically creating that sort of on-ramp and to be able to do that.
Welcome to the Arjun Global Podcast. Today I have the pleasure of being joined by Travis Wright, who supported our event here in Dubai just a couple of days ago. And we enjoyed him so much, we thought we'd have him back for a special one-to-one. And what I'd like to start out by asking you, Travis, you just started working for MultiBank here in the wonderful city of Dubai. Tell me what it's been like for you, the first 3-4 months of your experience.
It's been a whirlwind.
Uh-huh.
I tell you what, for one, flying out here was a 16-hour, 17-minute flight from Houston.
Right.
And I was like, oof. So, and then the next day I started in the office. So I tell you what, if you move out here from the United States, beware that jet lag is a doozy for the first week. After that, though, it's really been wild, because I'll tell you, it's like living in the future here in Dubai.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost as if the world decided to become a level 1 civilization and like have minimal crime, get along with one another, and, not have so much crony capitalism like happens in a lot of places in the world. And it's almost like we're all looking to be prosperous. You're bringing a lot of great mindsets into the area, and you go to some of these events and you just meet amazing people like Mr. Paul right here. Good stuff.
Thank you so much. Well, look, what's your objectives here on MultiBank? What are you trying to achieve in the region, and how important do you think digital assets are in this part of the world and in the near future?
Yeah. Well, what I said was, look, it's like, I got into Bitcoin when it was like $400.
Uh-huh.
I was like, I don't need a job. I'm like, I came here to retire my bloodline. Right. And I was like, here's a company, MultiBank Group, that's been around for 20 years now in the traditional finance business, right? With the CFDs, the contract for difference, and the Forex and all of that side of things. Yeah. And they've launched a token, and they want to merge, TradFi with DeFi and RWAs, and kind of bring crypto into that regulated world. And it's almost like the adults have come into the room finally.
Yeah.
And so I said, you know what? I was like, and I actually was talking to Zach Tahir, the CEO of MultiBank.io at the time. And I was like, I love what you guys are doing. And I've had the podcast, Bad Crypto Podcast, since 2017. And I've seen a lot of projects. I was like, look, I've seen a lot of projects. You guys are doing something interesting and something special. I said, if you ever need a chief innovation officer or something to come out there, let me know. And he goes, I might know a guy. And I was like, okay. And so now I've come on as the chief innovation officer of MultiBank Group and the Web3 kind of chief marketing officer for MultiBank.io, which has since rebranded to MB.io, which is very simple. And, I think it was one of the things is that a lot of people coming into crypto, it's hard. They don't understand it, and it's confusing, scary. Yeah. And so if we can make things more simple, that's what we're doing. So that's been my objective, and really to help. They have the MBG token that they launched, and I was like, you know what? If we do this thing right and kind of follow the path of what Binance has done, there could be some really big wins. And focusing in on one of the most important areas is the RWAs, which is real world sort of assets.
Yes.
And we're going to see the tokenization of stocks and even gold and buildings. And so MultiBank did a deal with Ritz-Carlton, $3 billion building deal, and they're like making that an RWA. And I was like, what? And then since we've come on, they've now partnered with Khabib Nurmagomedov, the UFC fighter. Yeah. And we actually recorded, we filmed videos with him a couple days ago.
Awesome.
Commercial shoot. And it was just unbelievable, great time. And we're RWA, we're tokenizing his gyms, 30 gyms around the world. So it's like, there's really cool stuff that's happening. Yeah. And I like to consider myself a guy who likes to work with people doing cool things. Yeah. So I was like, let's go. Let's change the world. Let's change traditional finance and kind of bridge the two worlds.
So the whole thing with, just for the viewers who don't really understand about tokenization, is it allows me as an individual investor to take a small chunk in that building, to take a small chunk of that gold, to be involved in the gyms of MMA fighters, famous MMA fighters. Whereas previously, if I was doing that through traditional worlds, I'd have to buy the whole damn building. I'd have to buy the whole damn gym. I'd have to buy the whole vault. Is that really the idea in summary?
Yeah, it's really sort of like a digital deed where you don't necessarily need to own the deed, Paul. And I think it's that next level of digital assets, right? So in 2020, 2021, there was the big craze around NFTs.
Yes.
Those are non-fungible tokens, but really these are non-fungible tokens. They're just not cartoon pictures of monkeys, right? They're actually pieces of a big building. Yeah. And we're going to start seeing that
real stuff.
Real
things. It's going to be worth a lot of things in the future, as opposed to some of that frenzy around NFTs where people are like, what on earth was I doing? To a certain extent.
You're like, I own this. I copied and pasted it, and now I've saved it. And now I own this NFT. But I know you don't because it's not on the blockchain. But but here's the thing is that the pioneers get the arrows in the back, right?
Yep.
And you start to figure out where are these assets, where are they most useful? How can we do this with that? Like, to me, I think I've always thought that they should not be called NFTs, but it's a digital asset ownership. It would be a DAO, but a DAO is another crypto term, which is a decentralized autonomous organization where people who have the crypto tokens, they can vote all collectively, which is interesting. But so I think an NFT is a really like non-fungible token. Like people will hear that and go, what? NFT? What?
Yeah.
Scam. But everybody has a phone. Why do we need to go to banks anymore? Really? I mean, what do I need to go see a bank teller when I can go boop? Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the world has changed and a lot of people haven't caught up. And especially with AI here, Paul, AI is unbelievable.
This is really interesting. Where is now the intersection between AI and digital assets? And how is that speeding up the path that we're going down?
Well, companies like Visa and MasterCard are really getting involved pretty heavily. So Visa has this thing, I don't know if I know the acronym correctly, but it's the Visa Token something protocol. I think it's maybe their token asset protocol or something. It's VTAP. And that is allowing individual banks to create their own stable coins and their own tokens. So if you want to have a Wells Fargo token, or you want to have, a UK bank, you want to have, the British pound token, but it's like for that particular bank, they're basically creating that sort of on-ramp and to be able to do that. Now in the United States with the Clarity Act and the Genius Act and all these different things that are popping up, I do think that tokenomics and things are merging. And now what's happening is these AI agents are now able to utilize these payment methods. And so you can buy and trade with your credit cards in some cases, and then also there's protocols popping up that allows these agents to be able to microtransact in crypto. And I think that's where we're going to see a lot of growth moving forward. And just even this past week, I don't know exactly when this is going to go live, but there's a big thing that's popping off all over the internet right now around this thing called Claude which is basically people are taking these Mac Minis and they've installed this software which basically connect to any of the AIs. And the Mac Mini is so powerful, you can now host these AI models locally on your own device in its own environment. And then basically you can chat with it with WhatsApp or Telegram, and you can just tell it what to do. And then you can go home and check on it and see what it's been doing. It'll work all day for you.
Yeah.
And so how are they going to transact? You think they're going to be handing people dollars? No, they're going to be transacting in stable coins. They're going to be stable and transacting in crypto. I don't want to give this guy, I don't want to give these AI bots my credit card.
Yeah.
Like, because some people are already doing that and they're like, oh, I just saw a charge on my credit card for $2,900 for an Alex Hormozy boot camp. And they're like, oh yeah, you're just going to have great ROI. But I'm like, no, don't be buying this stuff. What are you doing? But if I'm doing a crypto wallet, you only have what you have in there.
Yes.
But then you want to incentivize it to be like, grow your account.
Yes.
How are you going to grow it? How are you going to make us money? Here's your $1,000 a star. What you going to do with it?
Fascinating.
Yeah, it's wild.
We're incredibly excited to see where this all goes. You're going to keep a very close eye on what's going on with yourself and with MultiBank. And we'd love to have you
You're gonna
back.
stalk me? Don't be stalking me, bro.
Yeah, we have a digital stalker right up there.
Nice. Well, I want to say thank you for having me out to the event. I had a good time with that yesterday. A lot of really sharp people in the room. Great questions. And really enjoyed myself. So if you haven't had a chance to go to one of their events, make sure to do so.
See you again soon, and cheers.
All right, home.